Hello, it's Julie at Love's Beginning, and I feel as though I've gotten dragged by the scruff of the neck to make this video. Not that I'm unwilling, but just that I am adjusting to allowing things to be dictated to me, and from some quote where that seems to be not my usual self. So this is interesting for me. It just seems to be deepening that the guidance is dictating everything and not the personality. I think I wanted to acknowledge that when we're going through this unwinding stuff, there are so many forms it can take. We can feel so tired or just blank, just like you have to sit there with your mouth hanging open for half the day sometimes and not accomplishing anything, completely anti anything the ego would value, and you just give way to it because it's not only in your best interest, but it's in the best interest of everybody else. But because it's so against everything the ego would strive for, the idea of productivity and success and achievement and look at me, I did this, it can be tough to go through these cycles where you really are just sitting there and seeming to let life go by. But it seems like these are just cleansing periods, and the motivation to keep going comes from the joy we get to, the joy and the relaxation and the trust that builds, because we really do get told what to do and when to do it in a very nice way, a very clear way, and a way that's very helpful for us. So it's just adjusting to having the oneness dictate everything, which does not feel like having the personality decide to get or to achieve. It doesn't feel like that at all, and it's just different. And you think that you live that way in general, and then you go a layer deeper and a layer deeper and a layer deeper, and it's like that every time. So I don't know if any of that made sense, because I've kind of had the foggy brain today, but I didn't think I would be producing anything like this today, but here I am. So the idea of wonderneath was just given to me at the last minute, because I'd had a few downloads and thought, okay, well, it looks like this is what I'm going to be talking about. And then at the last minute, the title of this, Wonderneath, came to me, and to symbolize what is real is always underneath what the ego is looking at, what the ego is judging, what the ego is evaluating. It's always like in a completely opposite direction to what the ego's trying to look at in order to run things. So the wonder, the beauty, the thing you want to stop and look at and enjoy and just be carried by, the wonder, it's always underneath the surface of what we're projecting. It can always shine through, but we need to put our focus there and relax and stop and look and allow ourselves to be guided by that beautiful, wondrous light that's present everywhere. But to bring this back down to earth just a little bit, we love that wonder and that joy and that love that we feel. But we're also going through, all the layers of our misperceptions too, and facing those along the way. So one of the ideas that was really made clear to me is that judging people always hurts. First of all, the people are our projection. And so if you think about how much clock time you've spent in your life deciding and analyzing, deciding who and what and where and how and what qualities and what values, and figuring things out regarding people. And if you look at that, we've just been spinning our wheels. Every moment of clock time we spend on that. we're spinning our wheels, because this is coming through strongly today. I almost feel reluctant to say it that way, and the ego saying, well, people won't understand what you're saying, but it's, yes, if I'm saying it, it's finding a landing place, I'm sure. So judging people always hurts, and it's good that it hurts, because the hurt is our discomfort. It's the signal that we're believing lies again, and we're spending useless time in analysis that doesn't benefit anybody. So judging people always hurts, thank goodness, because we want to stop doing that now. It's a completely useless and valueless occupation, and it's a relief to give it up, because when we do, that's when we really get to flow under the influence of what's the wonderneath, what's underneath. So some people call this enlightenment, this process. I like to think of enlightenment as something, in fact, I think this was given to me by my non-physical friends, something we do with and for each other. And then later, like a year or so later, I read almost the same words in A Course in Miracles, something about with and for each other. So to me, enlightenment isn't just one of us seems to know more than others about life. It's what we're all doing with and for each other. And it's what happens when we stop busying ourselves making efforts. And when you think about it, judgment is an effort. It's a thinking effort to pin something down and decide it. We're used to thinking of effort in the physical sense of achievement and activity. When we stop all this judging effort, our physical effort comes from our judgments, that we think something needs to be done, and something needs to be done this way or that way or at this time, or somebody out there needs to do something in a certain way or stop doing something in a certain way. It's all based on judgment. And to the ego, like, you take judgment away, it can't work anymore. It falls apart completely, because that's its mechanism. Its mechanism is judgment. So when you take that away, there's, hey James, good to see you again. When you take that away, it can't operate. It's a machine that can't operate. But what's there? Wonderneath, or the flow, or the light, or guidance. It's just there for us all the time. And I find myself becoming so happy, not just that it's there for me and it's like a hammock or a landing place, or the proof that I cannot fail because it's always there for me. It's that for everybody else too. For everybody I think about or look at, it's there for them. And that's such wonderful news when we're accustomed to looking out at the world and judging and deciding on a future, and deciding on whether that future is going to be good or bad or hard or easy. It's such a relief to know that presence is there for all of us. And as we depend on it and flow with it, it's like the pathway to it becomes so much easier to access for everybody else who seems to be around us. So we have this idea of efforting and judging, and ego might want to take over those ideas and say, well, I'll tell you how to stop efforting, and I'll tell you how to stop judging. But the thing is that Spirit's always there. And while I'm still addicted to efforting, which I still am, I still value efforting and I still value analysis, I don't have to force myself to give those things up. I just have to know that Spirit has a use for everything I'm still addicted to. So if I'm still addicted to thought about efforting or to judgmental thought, Spirit has a use for it, and Spirit's going to direct my effort in a way that's going to pull the rug out from under ego, so I can go deeper and deeper and deeper into that presence, which is what we all are. And as I feel myself doing that, it's just such a profound relief that trust really builds. So everything we feel we're going through on this journey, it's worth it. I've been saying that a lot lately to people around me who are talking about, whoa, like, what a weekend I've had, or what a couple of days, my gosh, this is crazy. I just think worth it to face all our judgments and our fears, and to allow those to get swept away, and to find out what's underneath, to find out the profoundly good news that we might have believed intellectually before, but now we can feel. So I'm just grateful the Spirit has a use for everything I'm still confused about, and will still guide me through all that, and that I can just trust. So the thing I've been shown about people lately, and I have to be reminded often about it, and this modality of speaking about it helps it sink in for me. So the person I experience is my projection. The surface is what I'm projecting. And I'm really starting to see how pointless it is to tangle with the surface. Doesn't mean I won't still do it. I do. Especially with my kids, and in tiny silly little ways. Like, my daughter had her friend over, and they dashed into the house, and they started like drinking directly out of the kitchen sink, and I had never seen that before. Like, my kids didn't do it, and so it was like, what is happening? Somebody's lips are touching the faucet. I mean, it's like, and I said, what are you guys doing? So it's not like I'm free from it. I'm still doing it. But now I can really laugh, and give me a minute, and I'll realize, wow, I really reacted to that, and I didn't need to. The surface I'm looking at is my projection, and it's meaningless. And I have spent so much clock time trying to analyze it and figure it out and use it as a basis for deciding on action. I'm not capable of analysis as an ego. I'm not capable of figuring it out. It's not in anybody's best interest for me to decide on action. So what a relief, like what spring cleaning to just allow all of that to go in the garbage, and to release it, and to know that every day I'm being shown, this is your projection, and here's what's underneath your projection. What's underneath your projection has all the meaning there is, and it's just one thing, and it's just one really obvious thing if you'll allow it to become obvious. So these days for me are about that, allowing what should be really super obvious to become obvious, and to have a good time along the way as I learn to relax into that, to be very gentle with myself and with all my projections as I play with them in the sandbox still, and to really sink down into the truth and the reality of what we all are. And I just love what I was told, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, I can't remember, it still seems pretty fresh, that the only thing I can judge my fellow human beings accurately in one way, with the last judgment. And so the last judgment is, you are pure, you are holy, you are fully innocent, you've never done anything wrong, you're perfect. And that just rings through me and reminds me when I'm caught in some dream, thinking that this is real, that all I have to do is go down to the foundational real level of our oneness and sit there. There's nothing simpler than that, to sit there in the willingness to allow all my confused notions to be cleared away, swept away, and peace always comes. Peace always comes when I take the time to do that, and I can see and feel so clearly that is what time is for. It's just for focusing on this oneness and allowing it to do its work, and allowing it to make us very happy. And so it becomes so selfish. Of course I want to do this. I just want to be happy. Who wouldn't want to be happy? So another thing I was told, this has been very helpful to me, because expectations, if you have rigid expectations for yourself, then anytime any character in your drama seems to defy one of these expectations, you're going to get angry. And it's like I was shown this as one of my hamster wheels, and I thought I'd let go of so many expectations, but you still have some in your back pocket. Like, no one's ever going to grab the faucet that way and attempt to drink out of it. Like, apparently I had that expectation and it was defied today. So it makes me realize there is this space that is like, I live here in the tension and the rigidity, and I'm used to that weather. I've become accustomed, I acclimated myself to it, right? But back here, way back from the expectations, here where I was like caught in expectation, it was like, well, I had dropped certain expectations, but I was still in the egoic role of, yeah, I've dropped expectations, and isn't that great? No, I still had expectations that maybe everybody else would drop expectations too, or, about the little silly things in life. But there really is this space way back from that, which is prior to wherever expectation came from. And if you feel really safe and cared for and guided, and everybody else is too, and this is just really sinking in for me now. It's still pretty new to feel the strength of that trust. Then you don't need expectations. And when they come up, you can realize that they belong in the garbage, so your mind can be clear and you can respond to whatever is going to sweep in there next for you and everybody else. So I just feel very willing to be on this journey, and so happy about it, because when we look at the world we're projecting and wonder what we can do, what's shown to me is this mind-to-mind network of lighting up for each other, appreciating each other, loving each other, and how right now just resonating in that just changes minds everywhere, helps them open up. This is at least the metaphor I'm being given now, because it's something I can understand. There really is only one mind, so maybe I'm not there yet where I can be given the more advanced metaphor, but the one I'm shown is so happy making. Just all the light we're sharing with each other, just by seeing through judgment and seeing the light everybody is, and being so happy about that. That's what we're happy about. That's not conditions, not an analysis of conditions, not an analysis of a surface, calling it good or bad, just the reality of the light we are. That's what we're so happy about. And that means we don't need any of those expectations. So I'm hoping your journey, I know it's so deep and challenging and bumpy sometimes, but it's so worth it. So I'm wishing you the very best with it. And please feel free if you ever want to talk about anything. I had a ping to say this more than once, I always forget. So PM me or contact me somehow on my website. I'm very happy to talk to people by email or video like Zoom Room or Facebook Messenger, if you ever want to talk to me one-on-one, because every conversation I have is healing for me and everybody. So I'm very happy to do that. Take care. Bye, James. Trying to end it again. Third time's a charm.